Welcome back. We have been talking about the structure property relationship of polycarbonates in the previous class. In fact, we are right in the middle of it and we will continue that discussion in today's class. So, let us start at the point where we left in the last class. Okay. So, this is your structure, your basic structure of bisphenol A polycarbonate, and the question was how can we improve the properties. So, the first thing that comes in mind is that simply try to raise the temperature resistance, so that the glass transition temperature will be raised, and so the properties can be preserved up to a higher temperature, because this has a glass transition temperature of 150 degrees Celsius. So, why not try to increase the glass transition temperature. So, if you look at the chemistry, how can you increase the glass transition temperature? Simply increase the rigidity of the backbone. You increase the rigidity of the backbone, you increase the glass transition temperature. So, of course, if you have a flexible chain as compared to this kind of rigid chains, that will have a lower glass transition temperature. We have discussed some of these things before. So, how can you then increase the rigidity of the backbone? In order to have the basis structure, allow me to draw the structure of your parent bisphenol A polycarbonate once again. Okay. So, now we want to increase the rigidity of this particular backbone, because we want to increase the Tg. So, the Tg of this is around 150 degrees Celsius. So, one approach could be to introduce more bulky substituents on this aromatic ring. So, you could potentially start with this derivative of bisphenol A. So, this is your bisphenol A, and you substitute with 4 methyl groups. So, this will be tetramethyl bisphenol A, or I am just writing down this thing like TMBPA. So, if you react this tetramethyl substituted bisphenol A with your carbonyl chloride, then what you will get? You will get a polymer, a polycarbonate which has this structure, just this structure, and you will have these methyl groups present. So, you have increased the rigidity of the chain by this process, because you have all these bulky substituents present in the system. So, this is TMBPA-PC and this was BPA-PC. Okay. So, this is bisphenol A polycarbonate, this is tetramethyl bisphenol A polycarbonate. So, did we increase the Tg? In fact, yes, experimentally the Tg is 203 degrees Celsius. So, we achieved what we wanted to do. We increased the thermal stability from 150 degrees Celsius to 203 degrees Celsius simply by substituting these benzene rings with 4 methyl groups and increasing the rigidity of these chains. So, mission accomplished, or is it? First of all, let us see why the Tg has increased. The reason could be that this phenyl carbonate bond, if you look at this particular bond, the rotation around this bond is more hindered here because of the presence of these methyl groups. So, the rotation about the phenyl carbonate bond, so you will basically have a hindered rotation about the phenyl carbonate bond, plus you will have an increased mass of the monomer unit. So, these two things will combine to ensure that your polymer will have higher Tg, and not only that, it will have a better hydrolytic stability if you compare with your bisphenol A, simply because you have increased the, you have actually decreased the accessibility of this ester to water further by adding these methyl groups. This was hydrophobic, no doubt. Now we have added the methyl groups. So, it is also sterically, it is now also hindered as far as the approach of a nucleophile is concerned to this ester. So, this becomes hydrolytically more stable with respect to your bisphenol A. All right. What is the disadvantage? Higher production cost. More importantly, even though you have increased the glass transition temperature, this material will lose its impact strength. We talked about a trioca of important properties: 1, high thermal stability; 2, high impact strength; and 3, high transparency. In the quest of increasing the thermal stability of the material, what you have done here is you have compromised the impact strength. Why? We will come to it after, but the fact is that you lost the impact strength. You have higher production cost, agreed higher thermal stability, but you have lost the impact strength. So, what happens is that this material, in fact, this material exhibits brittle break behavior. It cannot absorb large amount of energy before it breaks. It is stiffer, no doubt, but it cannot absorb large amount of energy before it breaks, and we have argued before that a material is stiffer, that does not mean the material can absorb large amount of energy before it breaks. The material is stiffer, that does not mean in other way that it will have high impact strength or high toughness. Okay. Because I already told before that if you are plotting, stress versus strain, so initial linear portion, if the slope is higher, that will give you higher stiffness of the material, that because the slope gives you the stiffness, but ultimately it may break here. So, the material will be brittle. If a material is tougher, then what will happen is that may have a little bit lesser stiffness as shown by the lower slope of this linear part, but then that can go further, because the area under the curve, under the stress strain curve, that tells you how much energy it can absorb before it breaks. So, you can see directly here the area under the stress strain curve is much lower, even though the material is much stiffer. That is exactly what happens here. Okay. So, the large commercial success of this tetramethyl bisphenol A polycarbonate is not possible, because it loses impact strength tremendously. So, it has a significant effect on its usage, utility, importance in industrial through industrial perspective, I mean in the context of industrial perspective. So, the question, so let me frame this question here: how do we explain this significant reduction in impact strength? So, you have a significant reduction in impact strength. So, the question is how to explain this. So, in order to find out the answer, we have to do what you call as dynamic mechanical analysis. Dynamic mechanical analysis, or DMA. So, basically this particular process, it determines the temperature dependence of modulus of polymer. I mean, this modulus that I am going to talk about, I mean, you remember there is something called Young's modulus. This is something different, of course, because Young's modulus tells you the stiffness of the material, the slope of the linear part of the stress strain curve, blah blah blah. So, it is another kind of modulus I am going to talk about. So, this is temperature dependence of the modulus of the polymer, and this also gives you an estimate of Tg. So, if you now let me explain to you. Okay, before we go to explain the experimental result further, because we have not even gotten to the experimental result, we are talking about the analysis itself. So, this is dynamic mechanical analysis. This actually tells you, I mean, this is I can give you a mechanical analogy, that if you take your material and if you shake this material at different frequencies at different temperatures, this is just a mechanical analogy to explain to you what is dynamic mechanical analysis. So, you take your material and you shake the material, and this frequency of shaking you change, say 1 per second, 2 per second, 3 per second frequency, you can change this frequency of shaking. And secondly, also what you can do is that as you go along doing this, you can change the temperature also. And through this particular process, you can find out what are the different molecular motions that are being affected by this particular shaking. So, you know, when it is shaking, it is absorbing some energy, and what are the molecular motions that are responsible for this absorption of energy. Now, the modulus that I was talking about, basically here you are going to talk about two kinds of modulus. One is elastic modulus or storage modulus, and another is loss modulus. So, elasticity, typically you see, for example, if you are talking about linear elasticity, you stretch a material, and if it is a linearly, let us say we are talking about say Hooke's law, if you have a linearly elastic material, if you are stretching it, what happens is that it stores the energy. Of course, your stress is proportional to strain, it may or it may not be proportional also, then it will be non-linear, whatever. So, elasticity means when you are applying some force, it is storing that energy, and then when you are releasing it, it is utilizing that energy, and that is also a reason, of course, why your rubber band becomes cold, so on and so forth. If you touch it on the lip and then you just release it, then it will become cold. It takes that sensation for you to understand that it becomes colder, because it does some work. Now, elastic modulus directly relates to how much energy is stored. Now, a material may not be a perfectly elastic material. A material may have some elastic property as well as a viscous property. You know, when you have a liquid, you apply some force, it modifies itself in order to be accommodating to that force. It just distributes that force into the material, so that it does not store that energy, it just dissipates that energy. So, that is something that is signified by the viscous nature of the material. Now, when you have a solid which have a perfectly elastic solid, it just stores all the energy that you put. Now, there is a kind of material that is somewhere in between the two, that is viscoelastic material, which will have both elastic property as well as viscous property. So, both the property of the solid as well as the property of the liquid. So, what happens is that when you apply some force to the material, it can store some energy which will be signified or which will be given by a corresponding storage modulus or elastic modulus, and then some of the energy it can also dissipate, just like it is a viscous material. So, that part, that dissipation part will be given by loss modulus, because it is lost. You are not storing that energy, you cannot use it, so that is a loss modulus. So, basically you will have two kinds of moduli, two moduli, one is your storage modulus or elastic modulus, and another is loss modulus. And when you are doing this dynamic mechanical analysis, basically you are setting a particular frequency, for example, and then you are following how this storage modulus and the loss modulus, they change as a function of temperature. That is the idea here. Now, something that you need to keep in mind here is that the glass transition temperature is also given by this particular kind of experiments, and okay, without doing much ado, we will first go into some data here. If you look at the PowerPoint slide here, okay. So, this will take some explaining, although a part of it I have already explained. So, you are plotting this G prime, this G prime is basically your storage modulus, which is typically higher than your loss modulus, which shows that the material is viscoelastic, and this is G double prime. Now, these curves are designated as 1, 2, 3, because for example, the 1, when you are saying 1, it has two sets of curves. So, one is G prime and another is your G double prime. So, this is your G double prime for the set of curves which is 1, Now, what is 1? Let us find out comparison of modulus temperature relationships of polystyrene. Okay. So, this 1 is basically polystyrene. So, the G prime is somewhere here, this goes like this and then this drops around this point, and this G double prime is here, which is designated by 1 and it goes like this. So, this is the set of curves that results from polystyrene. Now, bisphenol A polycarbonate, which is of importance to us, which is 2. So, the G prime follows almost the same path, but it actually falls down at a higher temperature. This is the temperature which signifies your Tg, because this G prime signifies kind of the stiffness of the material, and so when you go beyond Tg, the stiffness drops because you are losing that stiffness, you are losing the material properties, and your segmental motion has started to play more role, the chains have become more flowy, so on and so forth. So, the G prime drops. So, that is why this experiment, the dynamic mechanical analysis, can tell you about the glass transition temperature also. So, you see that for bisphenol A polycarbonate, it is around 150 degrees Celsius, and interestingly there is a bump somewhere here which is very important. We will talk about it after. And when you are talking about your tetramethyl bisphenol A polycarbonate, again G prime is very similar, it goes down at a higher value of temperature 200, which tells you the glass transition temperature is around 50 degrees Celsius higher than your parent bisphenol A polycarbonate, and this is your loss curve. So, this is 3. So, your G prime is not much different except for the fact that the point at which it falls down, that signifies the Tg, and you can see polystyrene has a lower Tg and BPA bisphenol A polycarbonate has a Tg around 150, and when you have tetramethyl substitution, the Tg is around 200. The loss modulus though is very important to keep in mind. You will see here, say for example, the loss modulus, this is the curve number 2, which is the loss modulus for bisphenol A polycarbonate. This shows a peak here. So, this indicates what you call as some kind of relaxation. Now, this is called in this case gamma relaxation, and this signifies that there is some kind of motion maybe involving 2 or 3 atoms, that kind of motion. So, this shows that there is an absorption of energy around this particular temperature. So, around minus 100 degrees Celsius you have some peak. So, there is still some motion that is there in the material in the chain, albeit a small number of atoms that are involved in that motion much below glass transition temperature. So, typically if you think that everything is rigid below glass transition temperature, then think again, because this is not always true. Of course, at glass transition temperature what happens, that maybe 50 or 60 atoms in the backbone together, they will start to have all their motions freed up at a higher temperature, so that you will have a big effect on G prime. But even much lower than glass transition temperature, you still can have motions. So, this is segmental motion, a big segment has started to become has been freed from rigidity, they have started to have motions. So, that is the point at glass transition temperature, but much below glass transition temperature also you can have motion of 2 or 3 carbon atoms together, maybe a rotation, a slight rotation around the phenyl carbonate bond. So, those kind of rotations or small motions, those can absorb energy. So, those are not completely rigidified at a temperature lower than glass transition temperature. So, those are called, they have different names for relaxation. For polycarbonates, this is called gamma relaxation. So, you see that for bisphenol A polycarbonate, your gamma relaxation, this point, it is around minus somewhere here, it is around minus 105 degree Celsius. It's a range, it is not exactly a particular specific point. So, this is for bisphenol A polycarbonate. When you substitute with tetramethyl, 4 methyl groups, what happens? Your Tg goes up from here to here, as you can see from the G prime, goes up around 50 degrees Celsius, but the gamma relaxation point, which was here for bisphenol A polycarbonate, it has come now to this point, which is close to 45 degrees Celsius. So, this gamma relaxation temperature also goes up, probably because you have actually introduced some restriction around the phenyl carbonate bond by introducing 2 more methyl groups and introducing steric hindrance. So, that directly affects the rotation and that directly affects your gamma relaxation temperature. So, now you have to go to a considerably higher temperature. So, before it was at minus 105 degree where this rotation was possible, now only at plus 45 degrees this rotation is possible. So, this is your gamma relaxation. Now, let us come back to our script and try to explain this little bit further. Okay. So, what we have seen there is a result of dynamic mechanical analysis where you are plotting both elastic or storage modulus and loss modulus as a function of temperature, which gives you an idea of Tg and which also gives you an idea of what you call as gamma relaxation involving maybe 2 or 3 atoms together, the motion of that, and that motion is not frozen at a temperature lower than glass transition temperature, unlike the popular belief for quite some time. So, this gamma relaxation, this happens, the temperature of gamma relaxation, let us say it is T gamma, it is around minus 105 degrees Celsius for bisphenol A polycarbonate. It goes up to around plus 45 degrees Celsius for tetramethyl substituted counterpart. Huge change. So, reduced rotational freedom of the phenyl carbonate bond, that is responsible for such a huge increase in, because that rotation now, in order to effect that rotation you have to go to much higher temperature. Before you could effect that rotation at minus 105 degrees, now you need to go to this much high temperature. So, this temperature shift in the gamma relaxation is substantially larger than the temperature shift for glass transition temperature, because here it is close to around 150 degrees difference from BPA-PC to TM-BPA-PC, the T gamma, but Tg is only around 50 degree difference. So, the effect on this gamma relaxation is huge. Now, the decreased impact strength of this tetramethyl substituted counterpart with respect to the unsubstituted bisphenol A polycarbonate can be directly related to this increase in the temperature of gamma relaxation. Somewhat intuitively you can understand that when you are giving an impact to the material, it has to absorb some energy and yet it has to distribute that absorbed energy in the material, and this possibly happens because you put some energy and there might be slight rotation here or slight rotation there of the bond, and you can absorb some energy, and if you stop that you cannot absorb and distribute this energy. So, it is an intuitive way to understand to correlate the relaxation. It is called relaxation because it is a change in the shape of the loss modulus. The liquid, for example, when you put some energy to it or force to it, it just takes the shape that you are forcing it to take. That means it just distributes the energy. So, this is kind of relaxation. It is not like it is storing that energy or whatever. So, that way you put some energy and maybe it is relaxing by rotating slightly that phenyl carbonate bond. But now if that rotation is hindered, you have to go to higher temperature. So, that way the impact strength also is substantially affected. This is a way to look at it. So, this T gamma. Now, this is true for bisphenol A polycarbonate materials. It is not always a thumb's rule for all kinds of materials. Okay. Now, this has been observed. So, the reduced impact strength, strength is a direct result of the shift in gamma relaxation maximum. The T gamma increases. So, from here then you can actually formulate some kind of rule that, so you want high temperature resistance, of course you want high Tg that you already achieved, and along with that you want sufficiently high impact strength, which you could not achieve when you substituted with 4 methyl groups on the benzene ring. You lost the impact strength. Now, in order to have the combination of both, what you need to have is that this ratio of Tg to T gamma, this ratio should be greater than or equal to 2.52. So, if you are looking at bisphenol A polycarbonate, what is this ratio? For that Tg is around 150 degrees Celsius and your T gamma is around minus 105 degrees Celsius. So, this ratio, if you look at this ratio, that ratio is somewhere around 2.52. So, that meets this criterion. So, your material has high impact strength. If you go to tetramethyl bisphenol A polycarbonate, then your Tg goes up no problem, around I think 203 degrees Celsius to be exact, around 53 degrees Celsius higher, but your T gamma also goes up to plus 45 degree Celsius. So, this ratio now drops and this ratio actually becomes equal to 1.5. So, there could be some kind of empirical rule you could develop that this ratio of Tg to T gamma has to be greater than or equal to 2.52. So, then this is the design principle. If you want to improve the property of BPA-PC, bisphenol A polycarbonate, then of course, you have to introduce some rigidity into the material which increases the Tg, and at the same time you do not want to affect the T gamma, that is the gamma relaxation temperature, because that ratio has to be greater than or equal to 2.52. In order to create a rigid material, what you did in this case, you substituted 4 methyl groups in the benzene ring, and that increased your Tg no doubt, but the T gamma also increased significantly. So, that the ratio now became lower around 1.5. So, that is the material lost the impact strength. So, a technologically valuable polycarbonate with high Tg should have sufficiently low T gamma, so that this ratio is higher than 2.52, then you will have a technologically important polycarbonate which has a substantially higher or enhanced property with respect to a BPA polycarbonate. All right. So, what can we do then? We want to increase the Tg, we do not want to increase the T gamma. Okay. Let us try this. Let us look at trimethyl. So, TMC is trimethyl cyclohexane. Let us look at TMC, trimethyl cyclohexane based bisphenol A as the starting material. Okay. So, cyclohexane. So, trimethyl cyclohexane. So, one hydrogen here, one hydrogen at the back of the page, one hydrogen coming out of the page in front, and then you have another 2 methyl groups here. So, you have trimethyl cyclohexane, all right. In fact, it is not bisphenol A, because instead of acetone you have these 2 bonds. You remember? Okay, let me draw the full structure and then you will understand. So, here you have OH. So, in bisphenol A, at this carbon, this tetrasubstituted carbon, you had 2 methyl groups. Instead of 2 methyl groups, you have now substituted those 2 methyl groups with 2 arms of a cyclohexane ring, that is all. So, this is trimethyl. So, this is bisphenol trimethyl cyclohexane basically. So, this particular molecule. So, this is bisphenol trimethyl cyclohexane. If you use this for the preparation of a polycarbonate, what will be the structure of the polycarbonate? The polycarbonate, the structure will be something like this. And here there were 2 methyl groups. Instead, those 2 groups are basically 2 arms of the cyclohexane ring, and you have a CH3 here, CH3 here, and you have a CH3 here. So, this material is quite rigid. The restriction in the molecular mobility arises from the fact that there is a restriction in the conformational mobility of the cyclohexane ring, restriction in conformational mobility of cyclohexane ring. Also, this phenyl ring, it can rotate like this, right? this phenyl ring can rotate around this bond, but this rotation of this phenyl ring is also hindered because of 1,3 diaxial interaction. So, this position is 1, this position is 2, this position is 3. So, at 3 position you have a methyl group here. These hydrogens can interfere with the rotation of this phenyl group because of this 1,3 diaxial interaction, because this phenyl is an axial position. This phenyl is equatorial position for this carbon. So, this is an equatorial position, equatorial. This group is axial, and this methyl is also axial because of this 1,3 diaxial interaction, because this phenyl is at 1 position, this methyl is at 3 position. The rotation of this phenyl group is also hindered. This is the first thing. Secondly, the cyclohexane mobility is also restricted, conformational mobility. That is the reason why you will have a rigidity, more rigidity introduced into this system as compared to your typical bisphenol A. Say for example, this, if you compare this with this material, this will become more rigid, and that is why the Tg or the glass transition temperature will also go up. In fact, the Tg goes up to 239 degree Celsius. So, if you compare that with, for example, your parent bisphenol A polycarbonate, the Tg is around 150. So, huge increase. If you compare that with your parent, your dimethyl substituted for tetramethyl substituted bisphenol A polycarbonate, this was only 203 degrees, 53 degrees Celsius increase. Here it is almost 100 degrees Celsius increase. So, your Tg has increased. What about T gamma or the relaxation temperature, gamma relaxation temperature? So, basically what happens is that your T gamma remains relatively unchanged if you compare with your bisphenol A polycarbonate, unlike your tetramethyl substituted one, where the T gamma increased to plus 45 degrees Celsius from the parent polycarbonate, where the T gamma was minus 107 degrees Celsius approximately. Here in this material, the T gamma is minus 108 degrees Celsius, does not change at all almost. Why is that so? Because the mobility of this carbonate group around the phenyl ring, the phenyl oxygen bond, this mobility is not affected. The Tg is increased because it becomes highly rigid, but the mobility around this bond is not affected because you are not putting any steric hindrance here. Since the mobility is not affected, and since this mobility is directly related to T gamma, your T gamma does not change. So, then the design principle is that make the molecule rigid, but do not hinder the rotation around the phenyl oxygen bond, which you did by the way of putting methyl groups here, and that is why the T gamma increased tremendously to plus 45 degrees Celsius, decreasing that ratio of Tg to T gamma and decreasing the impact strength. So, now you have a material which has a high impact strength as well as high thermal stability. So, what we will do is we will stop here today, and in the next class we will continue to discuss some more implications of what we have already stated today about the T gamma and Tg. So, until then, thank you and goodbye.